Faith Forged in Fire, where we dive headfirst into the unique challenges and triumphs that comes with being a firefighter, all while exploring what it means to live out a biblical worldview. Join us as we find hope, perseverance, and faith in the midst of the heat and chaos. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, I think.
Yes, welcome.
Hey, before we forget.
Back?
We're back once again.
Before we forget.
Before we
we'll
forget,
we will
yeah, we'll forget. We'll forget.
Yeah, we shorted you this month because of the holiday. You're only getting 3 episodes. Remember this. Everybody remember this, because I think there's some confusion on this. We record one night a month. 4 episodes is a lot.
One long, especially when Jake can't keep it together.
By the 4th episode,
I can't even deny it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not wrong.
We're wearing down, and that's probably pretty evident.
We're feeling pretty old by the 4th one.
Yes.
Some of us are.
Yes. Yeah. Ooh, oh, there you go.
I got a call. Anyway,
I'm not saying who.
So anyway, that being said, I'm saying that to say this: months that have 5 Fridays, you do not get a podcast on that 5th Friday, because we just cannot possibly sit and record 5 episodes.
However, you do have an option if you do want a podcast on the 5th Friday.
Yes.
Just pick the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th Friday to skip and use that one.
Use that one. I thought you were going to say check out the Behind Their Backs
That's
podcast.
what I thought that too.
Or go to Rich Hayes without an E. Go to Rich Hayes without an E and look at his hunting podcast.
Yeah, or go back and watch Boost Those Numbers on the beginning one. There's all those things. But just so you know, a reminder, so this month there are 5 Fridays. You will not get one on the last Friday. This is the last one for the month of January, and we'll be back in February.
And if you didn't listen to the first 2 podcasts of this month, you probably should be thankful we're not doing
the first one turned out all right. It just got a rough start.
What was the first one? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
No, the second one, turned out all right.
Yeah,
the first one,
we're in the studio.
Remember?
This.
Who are you?
Oh, man. Little Jerry spitting rhymes.
Spitting rhymes.
So, Steve.
Yes, I'm
missing an accident.
What?
Steve.
Oh, missing an accident.
I missed an accident earlier, too.
Wow.
You guys had
No, you didn't. That's why we had to take a break.
And that was on film.
Not that kind of an accident.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry.
Oh, wrong accident.
So, Steve.
Yes.
What's the subject tonight, Steve?
What are we talking about?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that, Jakey.
Well, then answer it.
All right.
He doesn't know. He stays stalling.
No, I'm not. Oh, well, actually, my screen went off. Hold on. No.
Wow,
today.
that is some large font.
You like that?
I could read that from like 2 blocks away.
With my eyes? That's what I have to do. It's either that or wear glasses the whole time is what it is. No, this is I like this one. And this one actually is a personal one for me a little bit. I'm going to tell you why. But we want to talk about why firefighting is more than just a job. Or is it more than just a job?
Nope. All right.
All right. Bye, Jake. No, and we want to really talk about, and this is going to be one of those kind of Q&A things a little bit too, where, I'm not a firefighter, so how would I know, right? But I'm going to go talk to you fellers and ask you some questions. But it's really about, the firefighting aspect, and for you firefighters out there, is it just a job that you do, whether you're full time and you do your 24-hour shifts, or is there, or even on the volunteer when you're running your calls, or is there more to it? Is there really a calling? Is there 2 into 1 on this one here? And
I wonder, Steve, if there's a difference in, and I know you'll probably get into this, but just contemplating your question, it's easier, I think, for it to be a job when it is your job. I'm answering off the cuff. I know we'll have more conversation about this, but I'm just thinking most volunteers don't get into it for the money.
Of course not. No, I know.
Right?
They do it because
no. And I'm not putting you down. That's a good question, but just thinking it through, I'm just wondering, I wonder if we have to, as we answer this, define. I don't know. Some people probably do it.
Well, depending on how far you want to break it down, I think it depends on how far into your career you are as well. Because I know some firefighters who are close to retirement. Not anyone in this room, but I do know full-time firefighters who
even
are
some volunteers though that now they're like hardly, they're just kind of there.
So I think, I think it depends on where you're at in your career, and
it's true.
Well, we're waiting on you for all the wisdom to answer these questions Jake and I brought up.
Well, I don't have that kind of wisdom, because I was just a lowly tech guy. So what would I know about all this stuff? Back in the early days. No, but actually for me,
well, it isn't how to open a bag of coffee, but that's besides the point.
That was one thing I was not a good technician about. I did not use my problem solving skills very well with that one. But no, it's obviously there's many jobs out there, but I think there are certain jobs out there that require obviously a certain individual to do it, but also I think there's more to it's more than a job. And it's funny, me and Josh were talking about this today about pastoral work, for example. It's like, to me, I don't see being a pastor as a job. I see it as a calling. There's a difference. It's not just a job. There's something different in that. And I think, there's certain other professions that I think there's more to it than just a job. And I think fire, I think police, some of that military, there's more. There's a different element that goes into that. I would think a little bit as well because of the nature of what you're doing, right? So. At least in my eyes, I don't know. I could be wrong.
No,
on that.
I'm contemplating your statement about pastoral jobs not being a job of being a call. Really, I think and correct me if I'm wrong. If
You're wrong.
I have not served in that manner. But to be a pastor really is to. You're missing out.
Is that?
Yeah.
Is that the fire engine
screaming?
I heard that. Wow. That is the first time we've ever heard that.
I don't know if anybody can hear that, but there's a
fire engine down the road. But I mean, it's and obviously it's a job because you need to make a living,
sure.
right?
Well, it's a job in that sense. But what I was going to say is. It's not a job in the sense of you're going to go serve 9 to 5. Like you're inviting people into your life, like into your personal life, because your whole job is your life in that role. And we've talked before about like the cliche and the jokes about people saying, "Oh, you only work one day a week." Right. It is 24/7.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah. So to that point, a couple things. One, when we hired our associate pastor. Before we found him, I was really amazed at the people who, like, when they found out I was expecting them to work more than a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, that was it, in a pastoral role, they were like, well, no, I got to, and I'm like, you're not the right person for that at all.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, this new ministry that I'm in, it's not necessarily 9 to 5. It's beyond that. But it's not quite the same demand as if, outside of the 9 to 5 as being a pastor. And I already somewhat feel that, like, that relief in a sense. As much as I love being a pastor, there's still the reality of, I did just a little less pressure.
Sure, but to go into what I'm kind of saying, like when you go into pastoral work, you have to have a love for the Lord, have a love for reaching
for
people.
The job.
It's not just
the position,
because there's a lot of jobs, and I'm not ripping anybody's job out there, but there's a lot of jobs where there's just a certain role that you have to do, and you're there to make money. And
when I drove a forklift, I didn't consider that a calling.
Exactly. That's where I'm kind of going with it.
But I wanted to draw parallels because there are parallels between what we are speaking. I don't want to say the actual job, but what we are speaking about with being a pastor and being a volunteer firefighter, because it is 24/7 when you're a volunteer as well, because you don't know when the tones are going to go off.
Absolutely.
My point was with that whole thing is that it's one thing when you go to do it 9 to 5 and then you leave it there and you come home. It's a lot different when you're home and you leave your life there to go do the job.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, and so in saying that, I'm glad you brought that up because that's a good parallel to like where I started in the whole fire service. Because for anybody that has ever listened to me, I didn't grow up in the fire service. I had no relatives in the fire service. I just fell into the fire service just kind of by accident, or really by God's providence. But
I think. Oh, okay, you got it. I was gonna say otherwise. I think Steve needs to go listen to last week's show.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say no. That's where I was going with it. Is that the Lord?
Is that a boat I see behind you?
It's a total burned boat.
Is it
right?
smoking?
It is smoking. again. But when I first got involved in the fire service and I started watching a lot of these volunteer departments, I'd travel around Arizona and go work on equipment. It was really wild to watch, and you've always heard me say this is, for guys to do so much for so little. And I'm going, wow, this is interesting, because when my conceptual at the time as a young man of a job is you're there to, you take care of your family because you work your 9 to 5 and all those kind of things. And here guys are, you're not taking care of your family on a volunteer firefighter, thing. So look what these guys are doing for so little. So it was something that really kind of intrigued me when I first got involved in watching that. And I thought that's where, even for me at that time, like it's more, these guys are doing it for other purposes. It's not just a job to these guys. And you realize how much guys care about their community, because that's really what it is, right? The volunteer world is like, we care about people and care about our neighbors. And again, you're going to run on people that, and I'm sure you guys have gone on calls with people, I know this person, and I'm actually here, and this could be a situation of life or death with somebody that I actually have had conversations with when there wasn't an emergency, right? So I think that really made an impact on me. And then I think too, where it kind of became personal on a different level is when I worked at the large fire department that I worked at for a number of years. When I was there, that I was frequently around newer recruits kind of guys, and unfortunately for the people that don't understand, like sometimes in the larger departments there's a lot of nepotism, and there are a number of people that sometimes get on a job that really don't belong there per se, and I don't want to say that in a bad way.
We're not recording over there.
Are you serious? It's not recording at all? Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, should I go hit it?
Hey, who's supposed to turn
I hit the button. You saw the red. It was on, wasn't it? Okay. I'm sorry. Well, they're going to hit it. We can sorry about that. I could have swore I hit record.
Steve, the tripod is red. That's what you're seeing.
I'm a complete moron. Did I not turn it on at all?
Is it recording?
Well, you're recording on, are we audio recording?
It's not a Steve problem. It's a producer problem.
Producer problem.
Oh, did the camera die?
It's a card left.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah, we just leave it off.
Just leave it off. Everybody can get the experience of listening.
Okay. So, all right. So let me get back. No, we are recording audibly though, right?
No, let's just go home.
We never record audio.
Get out of here. No, but I mean, so
the audio is good.
But my experiences with the new recruits, and was going to say, is sometimes because of nepotism, there are guys that get on the job that really didn't want to, but they felt they had to because of the family atmospheres, whatever like that. And I think what was very frustrating for me at those times were some of the attitudes, because those guys really didn't want to do the job. You need a nap, or gonna get some pillows?
There's no camera.
There's no camera. That's right. People don't know.
Take a nap now.
People falling asleep because Steve's talking.
We're just sitting here
falling asleep. But no, it was just really frustrating to watch some of the attitudes of the guys, and I kept thinking to myself, man, there are guys that really, really want to be on this job, and yet you're here because you're connected. And you really don't want to be, or you just want to get the money, the pension, and all that stuff, and the accolades, And so I think it was always a frustration of mine working for a large city, watching that kind of stuff, because you could see the guys that really, really wanted to be there and took it serious. And again, more than a job, they really wanted to serve their community, versus the guys who were like, hey, I just want to come in here and get all the benefits. What do the T-shirt guys, right?
And then T-shirt participants.
Yeah, and you find those guys in the big city too, not just in the volunteers. So I think for me, it became a little bit more personal on that level. So I think it was kind of fun to talk about this. But really, I mean, for you guys who are have served or do currently serve, what is your thoughts about the job, and have you always felt that there's more to it than just running calls? Is there a dual purpose? Do you feel that this is a calling? Do you feel a spiritual calling? Do you feel...
that's a good question.
Really. I mean, because I've had guys too. I've had guys even at the large department who were Christian guys who actually had moments of spiritual on a call as well. It wasn't just running a call, but they had conversations of faith or whatever, and they were telling me about it. So do you feel, I mean... What is your thoughts?
So I'll answer first and say, yeah, for one thing, I have had opportunities on scenes to talk about spiritual things with people. We talked about this last week. I mean, Rich is a product of how I've approached the fire department by God's grace, completely by God's grace, right? God's the one that did it, but Rich is a believer today. So it's always been a little bit more. I have a sign that talks about it as a calling, in that Jesus told us to love our neighbors as ourselves. And so I answer the call. It's basically what the sign says. And I think of that often when I talk to other people about it. The way I say it is literally, what better way is there for me to love my neighbor than to be there in their worst time?
Yeah.
What better way is there for me to love my neighbor than to get up in the middle of the night and go, put my life on the line, or maybe I'm not putting my life on the line, but I'm just putting my family out or myself out in the moment because I care about them and they want somebody there for them in their worst moment. I'm literally caring for my community in that way. And I try to remember that when you get all those, you get the frequent flyers and you're like, here we go again. And then you try to remind yourself, like, no, this is, I'm here to treat them, again, we go back to the New Testament. Whatsoever you've done to the least of these, you've done it unto me. So yeah, I don't know how you could, anything in life, you can't separate spiritual from anything in life. But for a Christian who is a firefighter, I don't think there's any way that you can separate the two and say it's just a job.
Is that true of any job for
well,
Christian?
it should be. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever we do,
should be, yeah.
Whatever we do for the glory of God.
Yeah.
Now, and you're right. I think it should be in any job. There always is a dual purpose in a job. There always is a moment, because I've never been on the job, but in every single job that I have had since I've become a believer, God has used me with people, whether it was on a job or, meaning like a firefighter or a non-firefighter, and even in my current job, I've had conversations with my coworkers, or going out to fire stations and have had conversations with fire chiefs or people at stations, and so even though I'm in a non-firefighter job, God still uses that. So every job should be. But the thing with the firefighter too, and in your guys' position, it's such a mission field in the sense that, every call you go on, it's someone's in distress and in that worst moment. So what a moment that you could really, really be an example to somebody in their worst moment where they need to see some kind of hope.
Yeah.
You're obviously, when the truck rolls down the street, there's hope, right? Because they're coming.
Yeah.
But that hope in another way too, where of like, I'm so desperate, and I'm in such a desperation point right now that maybe hearing the gospel, that's a great time to hear the gospel, I guess, or at least see an example, not directly, because obviously you have to be really careful, right? You have to be careful what you say because you're a professional, and sure. and you're a professional firefighter. You're not a pastor, right? On the that's not your role, but being an example of Christ. You can always be an example of Christ, and they can't get you on that one if you're an example.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of opportunities, though, to pray with people. It's amazing to me. I think back of the amount of times I have either offered to pray with people, or someone else that's on the scene has offered for me to pray with people. One time I've been told no.
Wow.
Let me ask you this.
When people are desperate,
yeah,
they want all the help they can get.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And so, of course, then as you pray, then what do? You pray a very gospel-saturated prayer.
Let me ask you this. Were those times, and this is just a little side thing, but were those times as the chaplain?
No.
Or no. As a firefighter?
Sometimes as chaplain, but it's just as a firefighter.
Because as a chaplain, that's your job in a way, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, you're the chaplain, they expect that. But when you're a firefighter,
no, as a firefighter, because
that's cool. That's cool.
whether I just said, hey man, if you like, Rich has been there. Rich has prayed with people. Said, hey,
that's awesome. Praise the Lord.
Or because the people, like, I've been in situations where like the EMT and the paramedic were like, "Hey, we got a pastor sitting. You know, we're in the back of the ambulance. Like, we got a pastor sitting right here. You know, and it's just because they know I was a pastor. You know, any believer can pray. They just happen to know, and so they're like, "Would you want him to pray for you?" And they're like, "Yeah, please." You know,
Yeah.
Which I always thought that was cool. I always actually enjoyed it more when someone else offered my services than me, because not only was the testimony to that person, but I'm realizing, you see in the testimony you're having to the other people around you.
Yeah, certainly.
Because there was times that there was like a paramedic or an EMT or another firefighter who were not believers, but they just knew that, like, hey, Josh could pray and it might calm them down, kind of thing. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that. What about, too, another is not just on the call, but what about in the firehouse? Now, I know not you're working for your big department, you see that when you're going to shift and you're around your brothers the volunteer is a little different because you're not together all the time,
right,
like you are. But even like being that example at the firehouse for other guys at the firehouse, because unfortunately, in some departments and in big departments, when there could be some egos and some of those things, and guys kind of get in their head that, I am firefighter, hear me roar. And so they unfortunately live lives that are not, they're not the most ethical or moral at times outside of the firehouse. And then they get themselves in a lot of trouble. And then all of a sudden now the guy is needing some prayer because he's made some bad choices. Yeah. And so you can be that example in that way as well.
Yep.
Because you've talked about being in a firehouse where sometimes you're with a crew that are all Christian guys, but that's not always the case.
Right.
Sometimes you're the only Christian guy at the house, and so it's like, and you can be that example, I guess, there for your fellow brothers and sisters at the house as well.
Yeah.
Especially in your guys' job, which is when we've talked about in previous episodes, it's so demanding mentally, not just physically, but mentally as well. Being that example of that balance of like, hey, you're going down a rough road. Let's pray together, or just be that example where they reach out to you and say, hey, I'm hurting right now. I got the stuff going on mentally, and help me out. And I'm sure you guys have experienced that in your even in the volunteer world. You have experienced that where you've had to be that guy. I mean, chief, as you as being a chief, obviously they're going to come to you because you're the chief and something like that. So you're probably seeing that firsthand.
You just try to be a good example.
Yeah.
And it depends on who you're with. If you're hanging out with a rough crowd, it's easy to be rough. And if you're with a good crowd, it's easy to be easy. Yeah.
There's nothing about that. Do all your members know that you're a Bible-believing Christian man? I mean, do they all know that, or is that?
I've got to believe that they all do.
Yeah. I mean, not that you're preaching, but I'm saying they all go, hey, if you need to have anything, talk to Chief.
I would agree that they do.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not like I stand up in front on training night and start training with prayer or something like that, but I've got to believe that they all know it.
But they were like, hey, if they're talking, if there's a new kid on the job and whatever, and they're like, kid, hey, you need to talk, man. Go talk to Chief. Chief's, he's solid. He's solid.
Now, it depends on how you want to go down that avenue. Now, if you're going down that as the Christian aspect or the mental health side of it without the Christianity in it, they better know my office is open for the mental health side of it, because if they don't, I've really screwed up, because that's one of the things when I took over was going to be one of the top priorities, is to know that you can come in the office and you don't have to talk about the fire department. If you're mad about something or something's upsetting you, I've been through a lot of things, and sometimes the best help is somebody that'll just shut up and listen to you.
Sure.
Because the worst thing is when somebody goes like, oh, I know exactly how you feel. And that's why I think it was so easy for me when we started Bible study, me and PJ, was that I could talk to PJ and he could relate to me. And I don't ever remember him saying, oh, I know exactly how you feel, because he understood that, like I've said a million times, two people can go on the same call and feel completely different. So instead of saying, I know exactly how you feel, he could say, I understand how you feel. Yeah. It might have been two separate calls. So, if my guys don't know they can come to my office and talk, then I failed.
Yeah. No, well, obviously as a chief. But what I was saying is that there's always, like I've had moments where, and again, my fire department job, for example, I had a couple moments where people were having a conversation and they go, hey, man, go see Steve. Like you want to learn something about, like you need prayer, go see Steve. Like, and they directed people to me because everybody knew where I stood and they knew how strong my faith was, where it was like, hey, we know where the pastor's at in the building. You know, that's
my office would always be open for that.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to stand in front of guys that
Sure.
were training and saying, if you guys need to have a moment of prayer, please step into my office. But I can offer the mental health portion of it. You know, I'm not a professional, but I can always offer that. But I think along with that, they do see that I care for them. You know, it's something that I've actually kind of gotten out of the habit now. I used to call them my kids, you know, but it's because I love every one of them like my kids, and I try to take care of them. But yeah, they should know that if they ever needed prayer to talk,
that's cool.
Talk gospel or something like that, they're more than welcome to come to my office.
That's pretty cool. That's got to be.
Well, and on the other side of that, you talk about, well, you know, where your friendship started as a salesman. There's, I don't know how many times Rich will ask me, like, hey, do you have any more of Jason's books? Because I gave my last one out. Well, you know, it's not a try. There's usually a conversation with that too, and so it's not just the people in the in his fire department, but it's people who pass through.
Yeah,
you know, he's constantly having those opportunities, and that's where it doesn't matter the job.
No,
you have opportunities.
Mm-hmm. No, it's just some jobs. Obviously, there's more. Again, let's go back in the fire service because of the nature of the job. You have so many opportunities because, again, people are in a very vulnerable spot where it's, you know, I like you were saying, of all the times you've only had one time ever where someone said no. I mean, most people are going, I'll take whatever I can get at this moment because I am in a bad spot, you know, where obviously in a lot of jobs, that's not the case. People are like, hey, leave me alone. Don't, drag, buddy. I don't need to hear from you because whatever.
But you're talking about that because in the fire service where, you know, the TV has all portrayed us to being heroes and tough guys and the old saying, a suck it up buttercup kind of stuff. Now these guys are big and bad and they don't need the chaplain's support. Because, you know, they're macho. We don't need God to get through this. You know, that's what the gym is for. But now you get a bystander that's in trouble, but they don't have any problem having PJ come in and helping those people. So there's a lot of ego issues too. So
that's what
you know, and it's not necessarily, and maybe it's all because of their ego, but boy, they trust PJ enough to help this person through a bad spot. So he's planted that seed.
Absolutely.
Right.
He's planted that seed that when they get to the point where they're going to accept Christ, they know they can go to
where
PJ,
they can go.
just like I did. Just like, you know, as I absolutely knew that when the day came.
How many times did we talk about spiritual things in the first 9 years that I knew you?
Probably very little, and it would have been right at the front.
Yep.
Right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I think at that point you just kind of said, I'm just going to sit back and be a good example.
Build
and I'm going to be a friend with him, and I'm just always going to be there to support him. And he was always there for me.
Well, and to piggyback off something we said the last show, which me and you were having a little bit of fun with the conversation, and we were kind of being half serious, half fun. But when you say that person that's everything is perfect and everything is wonderful, and we say run, well, it's the same thing. The guy that's the ego guy, when he sees the guy that's real, when he's in trouble, that's the guy I want to talk to, is the real guy. Because I've seen macho guys, you know, fall to their knees about their life where they're like, I'm in a bad spot. I don't care how ego you are.
Oh, yeah.
The reality is, like, dude's struggling, marriage is struggling, whatever like that. And they'll find the one guy that's not the perfect Christian guy, or where you, like you said, the all holier than thou kind of guy. They're looking for the real guy, the real guy that's a guy I need to talk to. And you'd be surprised how many of those macho dudes will, when they're in a time of crisis, they'll come talk to you and say, I know I've been watching you and you keep talking about this Jesus fellow. Like, I need to know something now.
Yeah.
But on the other hand,
the truth is too, is that when, you know, life can fall apart in an instant. No amount of ego can glue it back together.
Nothing can.
So look for the real ones.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Chief?
But aren't there a lot of people that are like that? Like, you got to ask PJ that when times are really, really tough, Boy, it's easy to come to the chaplain, or it's easy to come to somebody and pray, and it's like, oh, my Lord, I was just in a bad accident. Please help me through this. Please help me through this. But boy, once I guess in their mind they think that their prayers have been answered, how often do they pray the rest of that month?
Right.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
Or do they even pray?
Well, and
How
even
quickly they
as
forget.
a pastor, you see that people come into your office, their life is falling apart. Oh, I've got to, I got to get back in church. I got to give my life back to God. I'm willing to do anything. Da 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 da. And once whatever thing is fixed enough for them, where are they? I see that often. People come in. I've had firefighters do that too. Call me. Their life is a mess. I need to talk to you. They start coming to church. A month later, can't find them anywhere
I've
because
seen it
things
myself.
are back together, right?
Yeah.
In their mind, things are back together.
Yeah, I've seen people do in my own personal life. I've seen people do that as well, and it's funny when you think of just the human experience of things fall apart. They're grasping at anything, right? They're grasping at anything. I'll do anything. I'll come to church more. Do you think God wants you to come to church more, or do you think God wants you to turn your life over to Him?
Right.
It's not a thing you can do to
Right. We can't earn favor.
You can't. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. There's nothing you can do to earn favor with God. It's I don't want to say a mindset, but a heart set. It's where your heart is at, and that's something that you have to be consistent with. And the thing is luckily for us, what did we say last episode? God already planned for our stupidity.
Yep.
So he knows that, he knows that people will fall away. He knows that people will stumble. Get up and keep going.
It's hard though, because we are still commanded to care for those people.
Yeah.
But the more you do this, the easier it is to spot. And almost every time now I can be like, I know I need to spend time with them because they're hurting. And I never really know what God's going to do with that. And I know His word doesn't return empty. It accomplishes what He has. But I also know as soon as things get where they need to be, this person's gone.
Yep.
And so it's hard to come at that with the right attitude.
But you know what though? What I've actually noticed though too with some of those people is that when that moment is a seed plant, because eventually those people,
and that's it.
Well, that's because I some of those people, they eventually get there because enough time of life falling apart and seeing God work, and when the one time it falls apart where it's like it's not an easy fix and just a quick prayer. Those are the people sometimes that get broken. You get broken enough.
And I think it's easy to lose sight that, again, we all stumble in our own way. We all fall short of the glory of God, right? We all stumble and struggle. We all have our own struggles, and it's easy to lose sight that may be one of their struggles. It's not that they want things to keep falling apart. It's not that they want to just, maybe they want the quick fix in that moment. But truly, maybe their struggle in life is that consistency.
Yeah.
And so it's difficult because we're seeing the immediate, how they are now, and the constant coming back, and you're like, I know they're just gonna, things are gonna fall apart. They're gonna be right back. But that's where, like you said, it's it's hard to see where they're gonna be. You got to trust God. All right. There's a reason you're bringing them to me. But there's a reason that you're bringing them
and
to me.
sometimes, let's go back to, I guess it was last episode, that obedience. Yeah. Scripture teaches that if you're faithful in little things, that's sometimes just proving. So that person may not. They might just, as soon as things are quote unquote fixed, they might be gone. Mm-hmm. That might just have been am I going to be obedient and faithful to God?
Yeah.
In this, it might not have ever been about them.
Right.
So I got a question. After you plant the seed, how long is appropriate to give up? You plant a seed in somebody's life, how long do you keep working with them?
How?
That's a good question.
Hold on.
You know where I'm going.
I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going.
I don't know if I know where you're going, but how often?
You probably don't.
How often should you forgive someone?
Every time.
Yeah.
What's the scripture? What is the verse? 7 times.
7 times 70.
70 times 7.
70 times 7. Yeah.
Yeah. How many times do you give up on somebody?
Never give up on them.
I think that's the thing. giving up can look different, right? Because there does have to come a point where you have to also be reasonable in the sense of what is their intention.
Yeah.
Right.
Are they intending to get back on track? Is this truly a struggle of theirs? Are they truly struggling to get through this? Or is it that they just feel bad, or they're coming for that quick fix, and their intention is to go back into the world and live their world?
So you can't enable, is right.
Yeah,
and sometimes you have to back off a little bit.
Right.
But I know where Rich is going.
Yeah.
Because I planted seeds for 9 years, and it's easy to give up after 9 years.
Yeah.
I'm in a situation right now that I'm planting seeds in a couple different, and I planted seeds for a long time. One of them, I'd say I've probably planted seeds for 10 years. And honestly, part of the reason I keep going is because of that guy right there. Because I go, I would have never, and I'm far more intentional with it now than I ever was with him in the first place.
Yeah.
So I look and go, okay, it took 9 years for me to get a good opportunity with Rich.
Well, and two, here's the deal too, is that
hold on.
Sorry, go ahead.
And then again, it comes back to who's the one who saves? It's not me.
Nope.
Christ. Yeah.
What am I called to do? Be obedient.
Right.
Be the one who speaks. Be the seed planter. Go ahead, Steve.
Hold
Sorry.
on, real quick though.
Yeah.
That was about where I was going to end mine at. Is you still have to make yourself available in that in that sense of being obedient, right? You still again, you have to be reasonable and understand what the situation is. Be obedient. Don't necessarily give up out of this for the sake of giving up. Be obedient. Make yourself available. But like I said, it's different based on every situation, and it's different based on the person and their intentions. So
yeah. Well, everybody has a breaking point, and the great thing is if the individuals get that point, you're on your deathbed, right? This is it. There is no turning back at this point, right? You're gonna go,
right.
That seed plant meant something. I remember when Josh talked to me about Jesus. Because right, there's many people that get those moments where it's like this could be the end, right? And then you get a real humbling moment where it's time to get serious. And I've seen it numerous. I just had one recently where someone had a crisis and they got serious, and it's all those seed plants that God used with people. Because they remember those things. And I told you, like for me, like when I became a believer, I remember all the people that God used before when I was a non-believer. I actually remember some of those people look like. I could draw, if I was an artist, I could draw their face. I remember, in my mind, I can remember what they look like. I haven't seen them in 30 years. But I remember that because it was something different there. That was part of that seed plant.
Yeah.
So you never give up. It's never a wasted opportunity. It's always a seed plant,
absolutely.
and God will. And those are those things you'll never hear about it. You'll never know till you get to heaven and go,
right.
My God, I had no idea. That's how cool is that. But again, that's just where the obedience is. There's never a wasted opportunity.
You make a good point. Yeah, there's never a wasted opportunity.
Never, ever.
When you're being obedient.
When you're being obedient, there's never a wasted.
Right.
Because
go burn your boat.
Go burn your boat
the
and
boat,
go
baby.
be obedient.
Okay.
It's going to be our 2026 theme. Burn
There you go.
your boat.
Talking about burning the boat, I know I'm burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, you and me.
Well, and I was thinking we have a lot of I'm yelling at her.
No, you're good.
We have a lot of derailments on this show, and this was another one. This did not. I mean, we didn't spend really a lot of time talking about our topic, but I feel like this was a good derailment.
Well, a little bit. We spent some time there.
Yeah, we did. No, I'm not complaining. I'm saying this was a good.
It was good.
It was a good derailment. I hope this challenged some people.
Yeah.
Shut us down, Steve.
Well,
Steven.
you know what? Hey, first and foremost, Chi-Town.
I don't have your music.
I know we got to get the music going again. But if you have any questions, concerns, you know what? You want to talk about that? You want to talk? Yes.
I have a question and a concern.
What's a question and concern there, Josh?
Oh, I don't know.
No, you don't have one.
Yes.
False alarm. No, if there's something we talked about tonight, if you're on the department and you're thinking about that, then like, man, I have a bigger purpose here. Maybe there is something. If you have a question about it, something we talked about, anything that comes to mind when it comes to the podcast or talking about the Lord, reach out to us. ffifpodcast@gmail.com. I do read the emails, and I respond to them too. Send them off to the fellas here. So we definitely would love your input, and give us a show ideas. Throw something out there. Have a conversation with us. We have returning customers now. People just
have a conversation with Stevie's lonely. I don't.
Steve can get lonely, and email's a great way to do it. That's
and
a good
it's hard
start.
to have a conversation in a podcast.
It is. Yeah, it is. But also, we'd like to talk to our sponsor. Sponsor, could you take it away?
It's like a waitress.
Perfect. Thank you, Steve.
How's the stock going in your coffee stock going this month?
Stocks are up and looking good. Oh, you don't mean stock market. You mean the stock of coffee. Well, it's certainly not the same night that we're podcasting from 2 weeks ago. So, I don't know. Anyway, go to redflannelcoffeego.com, buy some coffee, helps us out, and that's a wrap.
That is a wrap. Have a great one. We'll see you guys next month. Take care.
See ya. Why'd you wave at the camera?
I don't know. I completely forgot. I forgot.
Why didn't you turn the camera on?